All right, give us a thumbs up if you can see us, hear us. Let some people get logged on. Another week of Table Talk. You pull it up. Are we on there?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see if we get. I'm making sure I can see the comments.
There you go.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, we got a couple.
All right. So, thank you for tuning in. Again, it's another week of Table Talk. And this Sunday, we was back to our Encounters with Jesus sermon. And you can always go watch that on YouTube, on our Facebook. But, man, this Sunday was packed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was definitely the most people that we've ever had at church.
Yeah.
People were asking me why I couldn't answer. You know,
Me
it's like,
neither.
I don't know. I guess the COVID spike went down and it was kind of warm. And all I can tell you was it was a great Sunday to have that many people because that was a great message. And so quickly, just tell us about what the message was about.
It was about follow me. It was from Matthew 4, 18, 19, and 20 when Jesus calls out and encounters two brothers, Andrew and Simon, and he says, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. And then it says, immediately they left their nets and followed him. So the basis of my sermon was just on, we have choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's indecision is still a decision. And I think so many times we have these on the fence Christians, or I meant to people. It's like, no, you either make the choice or you don't. You're either following or you're not. There is no in between. Like, you're either following God or you're following the world. So that was about the gist of my sermon. And like I said, you can always go back and watch it on YouTube.
What I liked about it a lot was the clear emphasis that Jesus says, follow me and me alone. And you had talked a lot about how following Jesus leads you straight to the cross, and that by what you're following dictates what you really believe.
Yeah.
And so you could not have been sitting there Sunday morning and not evaluated your own life and what you were doing or where who you were following. And so I thought it was powerful, and it was a great. I had great conversations with some people afterwards. That was like, man, it just really made me think about where I'm at and what I'm doing, and so it was good. And I recommend, man, you go back and watch it, YouTube channel, Facebook, whatever you can, and check it out.
Yeah, for sure. And then next, we always have a servant of the week, and it's not any particular order, like, oh, it's just the higher servants, like, right? It's like we always have a servant of the week that stands out. And who we have picked this week is who, Roger?
John and Lisa Klaus.
Woo, woo.
And it's kind of funny because it's not funny, but it's interesting because a lot of our people might not even know John and Lisa. Like, that's how well they serve in the background. But they've been here for over a year. And they've been a part of the church and in church leadership for almost 30 years. He's pastored, and they've just been a part of the church for years. And so, but what they do is, man, they're Johnny on the spot. Like, when we need them, they're quick to respond. They've been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff and cleaning areas in the church up, removing some clutter, doing a lot of those things. Lisa's a part of the women's Bible study. John co-leads the men's Bible study. If there's a clean day, John was here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they're servants. They understand what it means to be a Christian is to not always be leading, but also following.
Yeah. One thing I love about them, and people don't even know this because it's so behind the scenes, is they recently took a faith and finance course so they would be able to lead it. Yep. And they're already preparing, so like I usually do the budgeting class and stuff. Well, now they're going to be able to offer the faith and finance class to our church. And, that's another thing they've been working on behind the scenes that we're going to be able to offer this year to the members at Matthew's Table.
Isn't that cool that they, I mean, how long do you think? Maybe 3 months of
Yeah.
training
Yeah,
just
it
so
was-
they could teach the class? Like,
Monday nights every week for like 3 months, so
Yeah.
they could teach a class and offer it.
they definitely sacrifice. Like, when you think about the fact they've been in church leadership for 30 years and they don't have any,
Yeah.
angle to do that.
Yeah.
Rather, this time they're doing all the background serving
I love
stuff.
it.
So
Yeah.
it's good
So
stuff.
if you know John and Lisa Klaus, tell them you appreciate them, and we appreciate them at Matthew's Table.
Yeah.
All right, upcoming events. What we got?
Light up the dark.
Yeah.
Right? So my wife, I got mixed feelings on this. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I think, it's going to be good in terms of some inward focus, us hanging out with each other, Matthew's Table people.
You have to break out the bank account?
But Brittany's been on this kick where she's like, I got to get me a really nice dress. And I'm like, I'm going to strangle them for this. But you don't, right? You don't have to have anything really nice. But we are going to be formal in the sense I don't dress up. So my formal may be a collared shirt. I don't know.
Nah, suit and tie.
Suit and tie.
No, I'm playing. But no, it's just an event for the people at Matthew's Table. And I love it because it's something different.
Yeah.
Like most of our events, like we'd show up in shorts and sweatpants and a t-shirt, and it's a great event. But I think this is getting a lot of people out of their comfort zones. And it's the 19th. If you haven't bought a ticket, you can buy them online. You can buy them this Sunday. It's from 6 to 8. We'll have a nice meal. We'll have a DJ. We'll have some fun, and we'll have some fellowship. There'll be a photographer. So, man, I'm going to be, me and my wife's going to be looking good. No.
Yeah. I'm all of a sudden shopping for something nice to wear. But anyways, but it also has a good cause, right?
Yeah.
Like let them know why we're doing it.
So we are doing this to raise money for our youth to go to youth camp.
Yeah.
So I think that's an amazing, and I think we're even going to do a raffle there. In the winter we'll win something. But all this is to contributing to our youth going to camp. And you seen them last year when they came back from camp. It was on fire.
They're on fire. Kids were excited. They enjoyed, you know what I mean? They had fun. It was great.
And here's what I love is at our church, there is no reason why none of our youth didn't have a reason to not go to youth camp.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of finances.
Yeah.
It wasn't because they couldn't go. They do such a good job of, if you're in youth, you can go to youth camp.
Yeah.
And that's by doing events like this, doing car washes, doing, bake sales, doing just different things throughout the year. All of our youth who otherwise maybe never would have had a chance to go to youth camp now get to go experience that.
And so what I get so excited about is realizing that there are some youth in our church that would never have an opportunity to go to church camp.
Yeah.
Or have never been to anything like that. And church camp's not the solution, right? Jesus is, but it's a great experience and exposes them to a Christian lifestyle that many of the camp leaders and stuff are doing. But also, it's cool because the leadership, the youth leaders, they set up this giving opportunity where our people have been sacrificing their own money weekly.
Yeah.
And it's a numbered envelope system. And I bring this up because maybe Sunday, I noticed an individual had came in and found their envelope and had put some money in it. And I remember thinking to myself, that's so awesome because they're like me. They probably don't make a lot of money, but they're willing to give just a little bit to be sure that the youth gets to go.
That's
so
it.
It's just been a really cool deal, and I'm excited that.
So if you're watching now and you want to give to that and hey, I can't make it to the event or I got plans on the 19th, you can still give to that. You just go to our Church Center app or our giving app and you select what you want to give and you go to Lighting Up the Dark.
Yeah.
All that money will go to help send our youth to youth camp. So even if you can't come, even if hey, I don't want to dress up, you can still give to this cause.
Yeah, and probably what I'm most excited about is on that night, Nick and Rob Martin are going to have a dance off.
No, you're going to be you're going to beatbox.
Yeah, I'm going to beatbox too.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes to get you there and get
Yeah.
some money raised, then we're ready to do it. You know what I mean? Good.
All right, so the next thing, this Saturday, it will be our one of our Show Love events. It's this Saturday at the church, 10 to 11. We'll be giving out food, and we'll be giving out bus passes. So from 10 to 11, if you know anybody in need of food or bus passes, we'll have food boxes, we'll have free bus passes, we'll have jackets if you need any. So if you need, just come from 10 to 11, or if you even want to come serve, we'll be here starting about 9:30. We'll be here to set up, get everything ready. And then from 10 to 11, if you know anybody in need of food or bus passes, we'll be here.
Yeah, if you know anybody that could benefit from that, this is something that's a non-member situation. Yeah. It's our way of trying to feed anybody that may be down on their luck or having hard times, you know. So either send somebody to get a box of food, or come hand somebody a box of food, and you know, that's an opportunity for us to get to know new people.
That's it. Saturday, 10 to 11.
Yeah. So real quick, before we move forward, this is something I had been thinking about. Like, you know, this year we are going to focus on being bold. Like that's the word of the year for us. We're operating underneath that through everything that we're trying to accomplish this year. And so I was thinking about it a lot on the drive over here, in relation to what we're going to talk about today. And, you know, the scriptures say that the righteous are bold as lions, that we face a society today, a culture today that's really just trying to, you know, over the last, just in my life, 20 years, we've taken God out of schools and out of the courthouses and all these things. And we have a great opportunity as the church to be bold in the face of a declining Christian culture. Let's just put it that way, right? Losing Christian values and morals and principles and stuff, and redefining the family unit, gender, sexual relations, all those different things. And so we have a great opportunity to be bold right now. And so what I'm thinking about is, along with the servant of the week, maybe moving forward, we alternate that, where somebody has an experience where they were bold, and they'd like to share that with us, and we can share that during table talk. As you know, our lion for the week is Susie was at work and got challenged on her faith and was able to share Jesus and invited that, but now that person's come to church, right? So like somebody who was bold as a lion for the week, moving forward. So just a thought, wanted to put it out there and consider whether that would be something worth sharing and looking at as we're walking through.
Yeah, I love it.
Because we're talking about prayer walking the whole city this year. The prayer team's meeting tonight to start putting that together, breaking areas of the city out, and kind of the vision for that is to also designate somebody that's willing to contact all the different churches or schools or nonprofits that's in that area. We're walking that day, and them be there with us, and we can pray for them and over them and all these things, and try to get some community support. Maybe even other churches do it with us, whatever. But we're going to be bold. We want the city to see us, not hear about us, so that Christ can be exalted and Christ can be famous, right? So we plan to be very bold this year in a lot of the things that we're doing, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, me and Nick's going to do just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, me and Nick's going to do just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, me and Nick's going to do just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope
Many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will join us in doing those things. But the main thing is because after this weekend, we're going to, me and Nick's going to do a just a 2-week short sermon series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, we're going to say when Mike's going to do just a small short series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, we're going to say when Mike's going to do just a small short series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, we're going to say when Mike's going to do just a small short series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, we're going to say when Mike's going to do just a small short series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, we're going to say when Mike's going to do just a small short series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, we're going to say when Mike's going to do just a small short series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, we're going to say when Mike's going to do just a small short series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions. But the main thing is, because after this weekend, we're going to say when Mike's going to do just a small short series, and I hope many of you will dream those are the lions.
It won't work. And I had to make a decision. Am I gonna do this and lose this, or am I gonna stay silent and not do what I know God said to do so that they'll be happy? And it's like, count
so
the
it
cost.
costs you friendships.
Cost me friendships, relationships. It cost me advancing in that community and climbing that ladder and all those things.
So
right?
even like the sermon I preached Sunday, like I think a lot of people just read that like, yeah, they followed Jesus. But like we can't leave behind, it cost them. Like they had invested in their boats, their nets, in that life. That was their identity. And they left that behind to follow him. Immediately. And like I just think like a lot of people read the Bible and it's like, oh yeah, easy to say. Well, would you do that?
Yeah.
Like would you do that? Like immediately leave that behind to follow Jesus? And man, like that's a heart check for me.
Yeah. And so let's be clear, right? Like we get it.
Yeah.
Like we understand the temptation there. Like it is hard. But the temptation is that something of this world will satisfy you more than what God has for you, when in reality there's nothing that satisfies more than God, right?
That's right.
So it takes real faith to really trust a God that you can't see. Let's be honest, right? Like, but we live by faith and not by sight.
That's right.
And so Jesus talks about this in Luke chapter 14, verses 25 through 33. It's literally titled, this passage is titled, The Cost of Discipleship. And we're going to read it and just kind of talk about it a little bit. And because it's a tough passage, it's difficult to understand at face value. I'll never forget the first time I read it and I thought to myself, wow, that's really, really harsh. But we want to be able to share this with you so you can understand. So verse 25 through 33, it says, "Now great crowds accompanied him," Jesus, "and he turned and said to them, 'If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you,'" this is where he kind of gives an illustration, "for which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, 'This man began to build and was not able to finish.' Or what king going out to encounter another king in war will not sit down first and deliberate whether he's able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks for terms of peace. So therefore, any one of you who does not renounce all that he has cannot be my disciple. So kind of a tough passage, just in the sense that Jesus uses that word hate.
Yeah.
And nobody thinks of being a Christian would ever consist of us hating our own family. And so, like, I wanted to just talk about that just for a second, because it is a harsh word and it's hard to digest, and that could easily kind of turn you away from considering the importance of this passage. So the word hate there is more about the priority than it is what we think of as hating our brother.
Yeah.
Jesus is not encouraging us to be a hate group. Rather, he's saying, because he knows us so well, we would more so choose our own family members who we love, and we've been a part of that for, our whole lives, and what we know to be trustworthy and reliable and all those things, that we have to say, hey, I love you, but I love Jesus more.
Yeah. So anything, like, God is not scooting over, right?
Right.
On his throne, like, God is not saying, love them now and then love me later.
Yeah.
No, it's love me more than you love them.
Yeah, put me first.
Yeah, even if it pits you against it,
because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too.
Like,
a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too.
Like,
a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too.
Like,
a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too.
Like,
a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too.
Like,
a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too.
Like,
a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too.
Like,
a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too.
Like,
a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Like, a lot of times, that's the immediate opposition.
Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. It's like a lot of times it has me and get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced this, and I have too. Right. A lot of times it has me get honest. Because that'll be a lot of times, and I know you've experienced